We're just under 2 weeks away from Apple announcing iOS 19, and today, rather than just going over some of the leaks, I want to go over everything. The final things we can expect to see when Apple unveils iOS 19, as based on everything we're hearing, this isn't just going to be a iOS update, it's probably going to be the biggest iPhone update in history. Alright, so based on what we're hearing, Apple has 3 big focuses for this year. The first is the all-new design, the second is fixing Apple Intelligence and adding cool new AI features, and the third is more general stuff and features that they're adding to the rest of the phone. Let's start off first with the way it looks. Now, we've talked about this extensively in the past, so I don't want to spend too much time here, but it is a complete visual overhaul this year compared to what we have had prior. Where iOS 18 is flat and boring and safe, with nothing that really sticks out to you in the interface, iOS 19 is flipping that on its head, taking heavy inspiration from the Vision OS software on the Apple Vision Pro headset, and honestly just infusing a lot more fun everywhere. The animations are getting refreshed to be a bit more bouncy. The icons are changing shape, and without saying more than this, I have a feeling they'll end up being circular. And all of Apple's stock apps on day one are going to be redesigned from the ground up. There's small changes like the tab bar now floating above your content, with the search also relocated so it's easier to reach, but also way bigger ones like a completely revamped camera app that has a larger viewfinder and that is going to help you become more immersed in your content. And while those are just leaks, Apple themselves has confirmed this is the direction they're going. All of their marketing for the iOS 19 unveil event is full of these pulsating, glassy rainbow patterns. It's a clear nod to what is about to come. And I think the goal this time around was for Apple to modernize the iPhone without it being a shock when you update. Like going from iOS 6 to iOS 7 overnight was genuinely jarring. Going from iOS 18 is going to be, yeah, it looks a little bit different, but I still know where everything is. It just works and is nicer now. I cannot wait to see Apple unveil this in just a few days, and I have not been this excited for a long time. Oh, also iOS 19 might actually be called iOS 26. Apple is said to be changing the naming schemes of all their software this year, but we'll talk about this more in my next video. It's gonna be weird. Now, following the design, second up are the new AI features for iOS 19, and actually these look pretty interesting. While the initial rollout of Apple Intelligence over the past year has been nothing short of a disaster, it doesn't seem like Apple's making big and lofty promises. This time around, they're just focusing on what they can deliver on and doing some practical AI features that we can use immediately. For starters, there's a new AI battery mode where your iPhone will passively take a look at your individual behavior and then customize and tailor your battery settings based off of that. Like right now, the battery algorithm that runs on the iPhone is made to work well for the most amount of people, but a lot of people use their phones in different ways. With iOS 19, it sounds like this mode will custom tailor your battery algorithm to you, and it will extend your battery life potentially significantly based on this report. Another cool battery tidbit is that iOS 19 will add how long it takes to charge your phone up to full directly on the lock screen, so you won't have to guess the estimated time to completion. It'll be right there in front of you. Next, iOS 19 will also add AI to the Health app for the first time. According to reports, Apple is working on something known as Apple Health Plus, which is going to be a new subscription service that gives you an AI coach to improve your health. Apple Health Plus will use the data collected from the iPhone and AirPods and Apple Watch to give you a custom tailored health plan, and they're even working on food tracking built in, so it can really give you a holistic look at how to eat and live better. It even sounds like Apple Health Plus could utilize the camera on your iPhone to watch you work out, and if you are doing a certain exercise with poor form, it could help correct you so that you do it right the next time, which does sound really useful. I'll just say this though, I hear AI and health converging and I get a little scared because AI is not 100% accurate ever. And I just think this is something that Apple has to nail for it to be a success. Now, in order for me to fully enjoy iOS 19, that means I don't want a cracked or scratched display, which is exactly why I partnered up with ESR, who sponsored today's video. This is their new UltraFit screen protector, and it is the easiest installation I have ever experienced. It only takes a few seconds to clean your phone's screen, and then place it face down in the included tray. Put your hand on the top and pull the tab at the bottom, and when you grab your phone from underneath, you have a perfect install with no bubbles or dust. Genuinely, I did not think it could be this easy. They have just perfected the process. The first thing I noticed was the fidelity on the screen protector. It looks crystal clear, and by using a screen protector throughout the year to help ward off scratches to your screen underneath, you are also helping boost your device's trade-in value at the end of the day. ESR also has an anti-fingerprint coating on their screen protector, which was incredibly helpful. So keep your phone safe with an ESR Ultra Fit screen protector and use my link down below in the description to check them out. A huge thank you to ESR for sponsoring this one. Now let's get back to it. Following that, it is clear that Apple is definitely a bit behind in AI, and that is why they are going to continue to ask for help from third parties with iOS 19. Right now, we have ChatGPT on the iPhone to help complete Siri requests and give you an additional layer of context. So later this year, Apple is leaning in even further by adding Google Gemini to the iPhone for the first time, and it does sound as if other models from different companies could be in the works too. Honestly, this is pretty cool because different AI models are good at different things, so Apple giving you the ability to choose for certain tasks what model you'd want to use is a nice touch. Just to be clear though, when it comes to Siri in iOS 19, don't expect Apple to say much at all. Apparently, they are not going to address any of the mishaps of the past year and also not announce any new features for Siri specifically after the mess it's been. I guess Apple doesn't want to get into another situation where they pre-announce something that they can't deliver on, so they're just avoiding Siri as a topic entirely. And an interesting tidbit I saw here is that over the course of the next year or two, Apple is planning to separate Siri from the Apple Intelligence brand in order to make it clear that Apple Intelligence is good, it's just Siri that's bad, which is not the case yet, but it's something Apple's going to be working on, and you'll see this reflected in their marketing in the coming months. All right, setting the AI features over there now, there's also a lot of regular features coming to iOS 19, beginning with a renewed focus from Apple on gaming. According to this new report, Apple is basically reincarnating Game Center, but in an entirely new form. Apple is working on a gaming hub for the iPhone that will now be pre-installed alongside the update. And inside of here, you'll find all of your different gaming apps, as well as your achievements and other leaderboards. Now, apparently the reason Apple's doing this now is they want to be seen as a leader in the gaming market, which I do find a bit ironic considering that the Mac is still not a very good gaming platform overall. But it's no secret that Apple has been focusing more on their gaming capabilities in recent history, and in a lot of keynotes over the past couple of years, there has been a dedicated gaming section. Will a dedicated gaming hub on the iPhone help them all that much? I don't really know, but they are still trying to remind us front and center that yes, you can actually technically game on an Apple product. Following that, for the second year in a row, Apple is also going to make texting Android users better. With iOS 18, Apple added RCS, which made the messaging much more similar to iMessage, although a lot of features were missing. With iOS 19, they're updating the RCS standard yet again to now support end-to-end encryption. So just like iMessage on the iPhone is fully secure when you send a text, not even Apple can read them, that will also now be true when sending green messages. iOS 19 will also introduce the ability to unsend messages and edit them and react in a number of new ways. You can even do inline replies now. So in general, this is just bringing the feature parity of iMessage to Android text messaging, which is something Apple has been super resistant about, and also something that is long overdue. And that's not the only new feature that Apple is improving for Androids in iOS 19, as a new leak suggests that they are also making it much easier to transfer your cellular service to your new Android phone if you're leaving the iPhone. In the past, you've had to manually reach out to your carrier when switching between ecosystems, but with iOS 19, you should now be able to wirelessly transfer your eSIM between your iPhone and your new Android. Honestly, I am shocked that Apple is making this process easier, but it seems like they really have turned a corner recently on Android interoperability. Next up, AirPods in iOS 19 are getting a major new feature called Live Translation, so that basically if you don't know someone's native language and they don't know yours, but you both have AirPods, you will be able to seamlessly communicate with each other as translation back and forth will happen instantaneously. This is one of those features that you probably wouldn't use on an everyday basis, but if you were ever in a situation where you or someone else found it hard to communicate, this is going to make it so much easier. Just talking about this, it sounds like one of those Apple magic it just works features, and I can already see how they're going to talk about it. AirPods reinvents how people communicate, and they probably won't be wrong. Following that, iOS 19 is also going to improve the captive Wi-Fi experience. One of the most annoying things ever when you join a hotel or gym Wi-Fi, there's always that pop-up that asks for your email and some information about you. With iOS 19, Apple's going to now remember when you input that information on one device, so you won't have to do it every single time you connect an iPad or a Mac or your other products. It's also also not clear in the article, but it sounds like Apple could be working on an automatic fill feature too, similar to how two-factor text codes that go to messages pop up right on your keyboard. Perhaps Apple has found a way to just automatically fill out these forms so you don't even have to go through the process. And that's not the only new communication feature in iOS 19. They're also working on a new Arabic-English bidirectional language keyboard to help you communicate faster if you speak both of those languages. And on the iPad with iPadOS 19, there's going to be a new virtual read calligraphy pen. So if you want to do that style on the iPad, that will be a native tool now built in, which is pretty sweet. We should also take just a brief second to talk about the iPad, which has not seen any major software change in longer than I can remember. It's something that Apple seemingly promises every year and then continuously underdelivers. But just like Apple is revamping iOS 19 in an entirely new way, we have heard multiple times that iPadOS 19 will also get this complete redesign with some specific features to make the iPad more like a MacBook. All at once, Apple is said to be making productivity, app window management, and multitasking way better, which again is something we have heard many times, but it does seem like this is a more serious approach than they have taken in the past. If Apple actually makes the iPad more like a Mac at this event, I wouldn't be shocked, but I also am not actually expecting that to be the case, just because at the end of the day, a better iPad would eat into Mac sales, and I'm not sure if that is something they are yet willing to do. Now, at this point, we have talked about a lot for iOS 19 this year, and it has left me a bit worried about the stability. I mean, the direct parallel is with iOS 7. The last time we got that major redesign, Apple straight up released the buggiest and most glitchy firmware ever. Could we see Apple falling into that same path again? Apparently, the answer is no. This is something Apple is keenly aware of. And according to one report, this is a central goal for them with all of their software this year. They want to add new features, they want to make them look fresh, but they want to do so in a way that doesn't sacrifice the user experience. And the fact that we are hearing this before iOS 19 is announced means we should be in pretty good shape. Obviously, with any major software revamp, it's not going to be perfect on day one, but it certainly sounds like what Apple is doing with iOS 19 is not going to be a repeat of iOS 7 in a number of ways. It's not going to be completely jarring and abrasive. It's not going to ruin your iPhone experience. If it's done right, iOS 19 is going to be Apple showing they can correct all of their mistakes and that they have learned from what they've done in the past. And I have to say, overall, I am hopeful and pretty confident they can get that done. Either way, we'll know for sure when Apple announces iOS 19 in just a few days on Monday, June 9th at WWDC. Like I said before, I am so excited. So drop a like if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe for more, and I have been Sam, and I will see you in the next video. It's going to be a fun couple weeks. All right, bye-bye.